is in way over his head, David Letterman.
My first guest, I'm very excited to have him here. Yeah, the gentleman has an insider's look at our new Secretary of State, Edmund Muskie, and his exclusive photo stories have appeared in the current issues of both Life and People magazine. Let's meet now the son of the Secretary of State, Stephen Muskie. Stephen, how are you? Thank you very much for being here. Have a seat, if you will. I feel a little silly introducing you as the son of the Secretary of State because, in fact, you have your own identity. You've been working as a photojournalist for a while?
For 10 years.
Where do you work?
I've been working on 3 different newspapers in Maine, but recently, the past year or so, I've started doing freelance photography.
Yeah.
And the assignment to photograph my father, first for Life, and then my mother for People, were my own ideas because I thought it would be a terrific opportunity that no one else would have.
Yeah.
Number one, my father wouldn't let anybody else in to photograph him in his underwear.
Let's talk a little bit about being the son of a political father. How do you feel when your father was running for Senate and other offices? That must have been a real unsettling time for
Well, it was. It is always when there's a lot of attention paid to him during campaigns, or, for instance, now when he's assuming a new job. He gets a lot of attention, and therefore the family gets a lot of attention, and we feel a mixture of emotions, you know, pleasure at his new job now, for example, a little bit of uncertainty about how the job will turn out, whether it'll be successful or not. But we've had to live with that really all our lives.
Sure.
It's all we've ever known.
Yeah. But this is a whole different level now, this new job, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and he's really excited about it.
Yeah. Does he, you know, you and I, everybody comes home from the job and says, the lousy plumber screwed up. Does he ever come home and mutter about something that went screwy on him?
Yeah, you know, he has a reputation for having a terrible temper. And I think probably that reputation derives mostly from his chewing out his staff when he gets frustrated at scheduling or other problems. He rarely uses it in, I guess, what you'd call an official capacity. As a matter of fact, he told me he's looking forward to the time when, since it has such a reputation, he's looking forward to the time when he can use it to great effect to get his point across or win points.
Do you, now that he's got the new job, are you, I don't know that you were very close to him to begin with, but do you stay in touch with him? Have you talked to him recently?
I do. He's always been, it's been number one in his mind, really, to keep in touch with his family, wherever he is and whatever he's doing. If he knows, for instance, that one of my sisters has an exam at school, or I have maybe a job interview or something like that, he always makes it a point, sometimes in the middle of something, to drop everything and call and find out how things are going.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, I assume he's watching today and probably interrupted a meeting with God knows what ambassador to watch the show.
That doesn't sound very smart, does it? Come to so you have been in touch with him. We're going to take a look. What other kind of things did you do before you got this assignment that you put yourself on?
I like to do photojournalism in Maine, mostly. I like to photograph people in their everyday lives. But I have photographed my father for years, more than 10 years now, and every chance I had.
So character studies was interesting to you?
Character studies, people and landscapes.
Tell us a little bit about the series of photos we're going to take a look at.
Well, this photograph is a little bit deceiving because it probably gives people the impression that he actually sits there and wears that hat while he's reading.
That's not his hat, that's his haircut, is what Stephen is saying. Why does he have it on now?
Well, this was before he was confirmed as Secretary of State, and a friend of his had it made for him, this Homburg. And as soon as it arrived in his office, I ran in with it, and I wanted him to try it on, and I was about the 50th interruption of the day, and insisted that he put it on, so you can see the expression on his face was one of not, well, it was displeasure.
Now, that's probably not a photograph another photographer could have gotten. What do we have here?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't think the shoe salesman where he was buying these shoes knew who he was. And yet here were these Secret Service agents standing around, or state security agents, and I was taking pictures, and it certainly isn't the normal situation for someone to buy shoes.
That's right. You don't actually think of somebody on that level going out and doing something as mundane as purchasing shoes. And he just went in for the free balloons, I understand. But your father, I guess he has tell us about his shoe situation?
Well, he wears, number one, he wears a large size. He wears a size 12, and he doesn't like to buy foreign-made shoes because Maine is a shoe manufacturing state, so he tries to buy just domestic shoes. Those he had a terrible time with because most of them were imported. They were $130 shoes, and he just couldn't stand the thought of paying that much money and buying imported shoes.
Okay, we have a whole bunch more photographs we're going to take a look at that Stephen Muskie has made, and we'll continue in a couple of minutes after you take a look at what's going on the screen now. Good morning and welcome back. Stephen Muskie is here, who is a photographer and spent the last, what, 3 or 4 weeks covering the new Secretary of State. You have other brothers and sisters. You mentioned your sister.
I have a brother and 3 sisters. I'm married.
Your wife is here in the audience today?
My wife is here.
Maybe get a quick shot of her later. Any restrictions that your father placed on you when you took this assignment, Stephen?
He only had 2 restrictions, and they were not before the fact. It was just as I wanted to take a picture of him in his shorts riding his exercycle at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Who doesn't?
He said, you can take the picture, but you can't publish it.
I see.
And one other restriction was he used to take nude showers outside his home at Kennebunk Beach.
No kidding.
And, well, he's had to stop that now because he has some female security agents.
Yeah. How did the neighbors respond to those showers? Was that because I've tried that.
How did they respond to you?
Well, not good.
He has a large piece of property in Maine, about 19 acres, so there wasn't any problem with people seeing.
And this is his home?
This is in his bedroom in Washington, and he was trying on shoes that my mother had bought for him.
Spends a lot of time trying on shoes.
He has the shoe fetish.
Now this, I guess, this has always interested me. This is the interior of an aircraft, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, it's the interior of his private cabin on Air Force, I guess it's Air Force 3 that he uses to fly overseas with. And you can see the shoes there again.
That's great. Let me, is this a good-paying job? I've forgotten what the pay scale is for Secretary of State.
Secretary of State, well, actually, he lost money by taking this job in that he cannot make paid speaking engagements, and since he voted for a pay raise for the Secretary of State as senator, he could not accept that pay raise, so he's actually making less money now than he did as senator.
All right. What do we have?
But he does have a car and driver now, so that makes up a little bit for it.
And all the shoes he wants.
And all the shoes he wants.
What do we have here? This, I'm guessing, is Mom?
This is for the People article about my mother. And she went into this beauty parlor. All the ladies were aghast in there that she would consent to allow me to photograph her. And that's actually a very tame photograph. I have terrible pictures of her with her hair washed and in curlers.
Is there a set of protocol that comes down from somewhere when a man takes a job like that? Is it, all right, stop doing this or do this? Or?
Well, there's a protocol chief, and my father now actually is not buying his own shoes. So I suppose you could consider that.
This is
vaccination? This is my mother getting a vaccination before she went on this her first overseas trip, which was partly with the president to Rome and Venice. But she put a restriction on me there. The first shot was gamma globulin, and it was in the thigh. She said no. The second one was okay.
I'm guessing that if this assignment hadn't come up, you would not have, in the course of a normal day at home, taken these photos of your family anyway.
No, I was anxious, actually, to photograph my parents doing mundane things. Usually when I photograph them, it's doing something special.
This is amazing to me. This is the wife of the Secretary of State vacuuming her carpet.
Somebody had to do it.
Well, what's the matter with you?
She couldn't handle a camera.
These are great. I like the black and white. Now, this is a terrific photo also. This is very nice.
Now, that's on Mother's Day. And my parents say...
He's in his T-shirt.
He's in his T-shirt. Well, it's better than being out of his T-shirt. Yeah, they say grace at every meal. Something that they have to remind me of.
Do we have, do you think we have photos of somebody like Leonid Brezhnev in his shorts or his T-shirts?
Well, this is at the end of a tiring day in my father's small office. He has 2 offices at the State Department, one very large and one smaller one.
Does he get any sleep at all in this job?
He does not he's never slept very much, but this job often requires him to be at the State Department for a 7 a.m. breakfast, and he seldom gets home before 7 or 7:30 at night.
These are fascinating photographs of the new Secretary of State, Edmund Muskie, and this is the man who took them, Stephen Muskie. Stephen, thank you very much for being here. Good luck. We'll continue with an Edwin Newman NBC News update right after this. Those are very nice. Very